3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 is our quorum.
Think so.
It says 3 last week, so.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
That surprised me though. I didn't know it. One person was enough.
Several meetings ago, we had that problem, and what you did is somebody opened the meeting, then you turn around and elected
You have
a
to.
chair.
Yeah, if the
Okay.
chair is missing,
Okay.
is absent, yeah.
Is she going to be there?
Actually, she's in Germany visiting her son.
That's no excuse.
He in the military?
No, he has a
That's right,
wonderful
that's
job.
You could have set her up on
Yeah.
Skype.
Now, I might have this wrong, but it's automotive, and it's I believe it's Kia, whatever, with the design, he's the marketing,
Keep those out of the nose,
pretty high
okay.
up there, travels
Right,
all over.
Nobody saw anything.
As long as they put one right.
Okay, this is for the dinner. You got your tickets for the dinner, right?
Not officially yet.
That's right, nobody saw anything as long as
I
everybody
can
shared.
tell you too.
He's
Well,
got
I
two.
got, I asked for them, so I didn't know if I was gonna officially get them
Democratic
before
principle
the
of
night,
order.
or
Well, John's got some.
Yeah, you need some? Me too?
I could just buy it from you.
Yes,
Do
that's
you
fine.
know
Let
if
me know
Roger's
that.
coming?
Cause I committed
Do you
to
know
10,
Dave if
sold
Roger
two,
is
so.
Okay, yep.
No. Okay, I think, is it 7 o'clock?
Probably need my keys.
It's officially 7 o'clock, right
It is.
right on the money.
In the absence of the chairman, I would open the meeting, Gene Julian, a member of the zoning board in Stafford, and I would make a motion that Nancy Rivetto act as chairman tonight.
Please repeat that.
Absolutely. Good evening, this is Gene Julian. In absence of our chairwoman, Cindy Romo, I would open the meeting and make a motion that Nancy Rivetto act as chairperson tonight.
Thanks, all those in favor?
Aye.
So we will open the meeting at 7:01. Seated this evening is Jean Julian. I'm Nancy Rivetto, I'll be acting chair. Jack Marco. Roger Pellizzari is absent, and I would ask that John Perry sit for Roger, and I will ask that Doug Fassett sit for Cindy Romo.
I agree.
So the second item on the agenda is to review the minutes of May 12th, but first we will need to review the minutes of April 28th. Yes, we would have the 3 votes. Jack, you were there at the 28th, I was, and Jean. So we could look over those minutes.
Oh, you couldn't do them last meeting?
No, we could not, no. I believe I have reviewed all of them and find that they are in excellent order as usual. And is there a motion on the floor to accept the minutes from April 28th?
I would make that motion
I'll
for
second it.
April 28th.
Any discussion?
Can I second it?
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Any discussion? If hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Now we will review the minutes of May 12th. I do have one thing that I brought up, I believe it's on the last page, yes. We were talking about the application for the 110,000 square feet by the Economic Development Commission. And it's stated here it's scheduled to be open on June 8th. I believe that Tuesday is June 9th.
Should be June 9th.
9th, so we've just changed the 8th to the 9th. I didn't think there was a change in the date. Yeah, okay.
Where is that, Nancy?
Yes,
Where is that on the minutes?
the last page.
5.
The very last
That
sentence.
very last page.
Oh, okay, I got it.
Okay, got it. Mhm. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from May 12th?
I'll make it.
Is there a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Jack abstains. Next item on the agenda is the Hyde Park Amphitheatre.
This, section 824 referral, and the representative Neil Haas requested that it be tabled this evening so that more information could be gathered to present to the commission.
So I suggest perhaps the two letters of recommendation received from, one Cheryl Wilson Maynard, the chair of the Stafford Arts Commission in support of this, and Laurie Perrell, chairman of the Hyde Park Commission in support. We could probably hold that in our packet till next,
Keep it in this
next,
way, yeah, we don't need to put it in the.
right, till our next meeting. The next thing on our agenda is the West Stafford Elementary School solar carport. I believe we're gonna have a presentation by the Energy Commission.
Yeah, Dave's gonna pass out some pictures that we brought. How many do you need? 60.
Thank you, sir.
You're familiar. So you can help me.
This is for an additional 60 kW solar at West Stafford School. It'll be on a carport that's similar to the pictures you are now getting.
Okay, I see, here's 190, the entrance. So it's gonna be the whole section there, and outlined in red. Outlined in red.
Yes. Yeah, that's where it's going to be put. And this extra 60 kW will make the West
Oh, it
Stafford
is.
School, will supply all this electricity, 100%. And with addition, with what we had already on the roof. Okay, what, 140?
It's 100.
100 on the roof.
So it
And
will
this is
supply
160.
all of the electricity for the West Stafford School?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's its purpose, to supply power to the school?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not to charge cars.
No,
Okay.
It's to wipe out the electric bill. so we
it's
don't
wiped out the
spend money.
electric
Okay.
bill. at-
Because there's already solar
Nothing to do
on,
with charging cars.
Flat.
but there's already solar on the school, right?
There's
Yes.
100 kW on the school now, this is an additional 60. With this 60, it'll supply all of the electricity to the West Stafford School.
How do
So
they
there
bring
won't be
power
issue
to the
with
school? That's on top of the driveway and go underground?
Say that again, Doug?
Top of the driveway and go underground?
Yeah.
Probably.
To where on the school?
Everybody's questioning.
Right side?
Since last week.
That's to be determined yet by the electricians. This is a ways down the road.
Any questions?
This is the first step of the process of pursuing this.
And I'm assuming you're getting funding? You're getting funding for these?
Yes,
Yes.
this is already,
So
this is already in the $17 million.
it's on,
Wonderful.
it's in the
It's already in there.
lease
Wonderful.
program, it's already included in the lease, so it's paid for, this will be part of that.
And there would be no loss of parking spaces.
No, no loss, and actually they'll be undercover, which is quite nice too.
18 people near the shade.
Yeah.
It actually covers both sides, doesn't it?
No, watch just one side,
Just
just our
one.
line in red.
And this drawing's incorrect, right?
That's just a artist representation of to the style of what it looks like.
Okay, thank
We
you.
do not have one that shows one side.
Oh, okay.
That's just to give you an idea what they look like in general.
Yeah.
There was a design committee, the school, we had a design committee, the school had a design committee, and we designed it, we have a design for it, that's gonna be approved by the Board of Ed in a few weeks.
So this outline in red is fairly accurate then?
Yep.
And you need our approval before you can get the school's approval,
And the
correct?
Board of Selectmen.
Guess you better prove it, then they already put the money up. Make the carts before the horse here.
Well, people do things right, I suppose.
So does anyone have any other questions? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. I'll second.
Wait a minute, you didn't make it?
No.
I made it.
Good.
You know, we're just giving our approval to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, would there be,
How does your motion read?
Positive 8-24 referral, as Ann just said.
West Stafford, just read that.
Okay. a positive 824 referral, West Stafford Elementary School solar carport, to construct it within the existing parking lot location, 153 West Stafford Road, map 45, lot 122.
I'll second it.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Number 5, discussion of potential survey questions.
I know there was, we had some email correspondence regarding this, you and I
Yes, we did.
and others. We had discussed the survey questions in the past, I think I gave you the meeting dates, about establishing questions to survey the community regarding, basically what they're looking to see or expect, in regards to regulations and development and so forth, and also in regards to the, plan of conservation and development. The plan of conservation and development is not that old. We have 5 years to go until the next one. We are allowed to start early. We had discussions when we had our joint meeting, actually before the joint meeting with the other commissions about preparing questions. And at the time, our intent was to get a survey prepared and solicit opinions from residents.
Correct.
The EDC has been pursuing that. The Conservation Commission, I'm not sure.
I received an email.
I know it was on their agenda last night, but I don't.
I received an email from Ingrid, sorry for interrupting, she was hoping to get here, but she had a conflict. They have been working and they do have questions prepared. And that's when I wrote back to you and said, then why are we not?
Well, one of the things I mentioned in our email from a previous meeting that I had told the commission was, quite frankly, is let's see what questions are developed and maybe expand from there. We've been busy with other items, and we've also, the town has got a proposal from CERC to do a study. And there's been some discussion about having another study done. The last one was done in 2006, which is almost 10 years ago. And that was included in your packet, which described their scope of work. And I think one of the most important parts of their scope of work, whether it's them or someone else or us, is it's fine to develop survey questions. That's the first step. What do you do with the response? How do you get the responses, and what do you do with the responses? And I think that the point that the town is at right now, my personal opinion, is that professionals that know how to combine the data from a survey, and in their proposal, they offer consensus building meetings. And I think that would be in addition to a survey, actually, but I think we need to bring in people that know more than we do as far as getting a grasp on everything and getting it done accurately and professionally. They also take into account in their scope of work at regional issues, local issues, regional issues, from the state level, Northeast region, and they're planners, they're professional planners, and the price, I feel, is fair for that service. If you look at what we spent on just our zone change that we just did, it's very comparative, and I think it's a small price to pay for a valuable tool for guiding the town.
Dave, I think that was my issue, because what we had discussed was that we were going to have this professional survey done, and that's why we did not start, let me finish, that's why we did not start to prepare questions. So that was my confusion when I was told that the EDC was doing questions, the Conservation Commission. Why are they doing questions for a survey when we're paying a professional to promulgate these questions?
Well, we're not paying anyone yet.
Well, we put in 19,000 in the budget for this, so I'm assuming they're gonna be hired.
budget hasn't passed.
So, but I mean, that's why, I'm not saying that we didn't do our job because we didn't work on questions, but we had discussed waiting for the
right.
survey.
We had discussed
take
it, and,
place.
and maybe there was some miscommunication.
There was, yeah,
Particularly with the other commissions.
right,
But I give them, you know, hats off for being diligent about it. And,
right,
you know, quite frankly, we have been dealing with more pressing issues than the
oh,
questions.
definitely.
We can develop questions. I didn't wanna be redundant in coming up with questions that
Well,
other
that,
commissions came up with.
I think that's an important word. I think
Right.
we had talked about sitting down, spending some time when we did have other major issues, coming up with some questions that could very well have duplicated, been redundant, and
Right,
it made more sense, and we talked about this once, I think it came from you, Dave.
Yeah, we had two meetings, I looked back through the minutes just to make sure. And we had two meetings where we discussed it at length, and one meeting was where, we were going to work on questions, but we somewhat dropped the priority of it because of the other issues at the time. And at the other meeting that I noted to you was that the other commissions were working on questions, and while we were still busy, let's see what they come up with for questions.
We would get
We're
to
all gonna
look
have
at their
different-
questions.
We all have different, aspects that we're looking from,
Yeah.
as far as EDC has a particular aspect, the Conservation Commission has a particular aspect, and Planning and Zoning does.
I believe that's the meeting, I was absent, I was in Florida that one, I
I'll
believe.
let you off the hook this.
So that was part of my confusion, so probably what you're suggesting is that we ask the EDC and the Conservation Commission to meet with us so we can see what their questions are relative to what we should do for zoning. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, and I also refer to correspondence later down, which I got after the agenda was done, an invitation that we have. We can discuss it now if you want
Well,
to, but we haven't,
If you have any questions on EDC members, there's one here.
I know, Peter, thank you.
It's like, I feel, you know,
the EDC has invited,
June
extended
2nd?
invitation next Tuesday.
But that's
To
what
a meeting
CERC,
where they're gonna have a crack representative there.
right,
And so we are due to,
yeah, that's okay.
To arrange another joint meeting, but I think you're right, as far as, I think we need almost a pre-meeting before just maybe a few members or the chairpersons of each commission to
Absolutely.
present the questions so that we can accept them, review them, ask a few questions,
See
and then we
if-
can come up with some.
Right, right.
And, as I said all along, it's not something we need to do in a rash manner. We need to do it seriously, we need to take due consideration, and
Well, that was my fear when I saw that they were all working on it independently, and I thought that this was supposed to be a collaborative effort on the three commissions to work on that, so.
I don't believe the EDC
but
has
do you
approved
think-
their questions yet.
we're not doing questions.
Well, no, you had it on your agenda to vote on them.
Right, that completely get, do you want me to tell you about this?
Yeah.
That completely got changed around. The discussion was, what makes this board, the EDC, the planning conservation, experts at questions? None of us are experts, so I know of, unless you have a degree in something, that makes you an expert, right? So we said, let's let CERC come and tell us what they think we should do. And what, should we come up with questions? Well, should we let them come up with questions? Let's let them tell us they're the experts. Let's them tell us what to do, and then we go back to all the other boards and say, okay, this is what CERC said, and yes, we should have a joint meeting of all the boards to discuss the outcome of the CERC meeting and say, all right, this is what the plan should be going forward for all the boards. We're either doing questions, we're not doing questions, whatever they think it is we should be doing.
And
That's basically it.
so,
So you really shouldn't be doing questions, because you could be wasting your time.
So what you're
well,
saying
that's
is
what we
we
didn't
should
wanna do, is
attend
waste
that.
our time.
No,
And so my
right.
understanding is, this presentation is not part of their scope of work. They're coming to meet with the E EDC.
They're coming to pitch us on paying the money.
Correct, right.
And we've already, this past week, we met with them at a presentation they gave down in Rocky Hill. And I was down there with a couple of the other members in Rich, and we talked to them about coming out that night and prepping them for what that meeting would be about. But that's basically them pitching the EDC on hiring them, and they know we plan to ask them for
Right.
what is it you want us to do for you to make your job easier? Should planning and zoning come up with questions? Should EDC? What do you want us to do?
And I
So-
think in that packet with their proposal are the resumes of the key staff, and I think, as Peter said, you know,
So I think we all, on all three commissions, should try to be there. Where is this meeting?
The EDC
Tuesday
meeting next.
here, I believe it's in this room next Tuesday,
Next Tuesday night?
7 PM.
Because if they're gonna tell each commission what they need to do, somebody from each commission needs to be there.
Good point.
So I
Well,
plan on.
if we're gonna have a quorum there, please let me know a couple days in advance, so I
Well,
can,
I don't think this is a collective it's not a meeting where we're deciding anything or looking at.
minutes will be taken anyway, so for the EDC.
Right, but
so-
I don't think it's a,
I'm not trying to be
quorum.
a stickler, I'm just saying.
right. We're not reviewing any zoning, we're not looking at a property, we're just
Listening.
We're listening
meeting.
to a proposal.
Right, so I don't believe, even if all 5 or 7 or how many came, it's not a meeting.
I
So-
disagree. I think we should post it.
It's not our meeting.
Well, what I can do is tomorrow, I can
No,
check,
more than
I'll
three
double
people
check,
get together.
right, but I'll double check with
That
Karen.
would be
I
smart.
can double check
We're
tomorrow
not,
with
we're
Karen.
just
and I can-
residents going, are we not?
It's a public meeting,
Yeah.
It's a public
but I
meeting.
can post it as a special meeting.
All right, why
And
don't you
And
do
if-
that?
If we don't have a quorum there, we don't have a quorum there, but I can
And,
still
and the
post it.
quorum would be
It's
with,
posted already under the EDC.
whose quorum, ours or the economic? They're the ones.
If we have a quorum gather in any one place, whether it be a site walk or another meeting, it's technically a meeting. That's my quorum.
Okay,
Remember
so
what,
that's what you're saying, Jack.
Yeah,
I
well,
agree,
we
yeah.
went through it.
I mean, there's no harm in posting it.
Fishing game club.
But I mean, whose quorum do we go with, though, so we can still have the meeting? Us, the
Whoever has a
EDC?
quorum there.
Okay, very good. Whoever has the best quorum?
We
All
have,
right.
we have 9 members.
Yeah.
You have how many?
Excuse me, I'm on the Conservation Commission,
Oh,
so.
good evening, good evening.
I'm
And your
Gloria
name?
Cole.
We have 9.
Gloria. I just explained that Ingrid was unavailable tonight, and she sent me questions, I couldn't print them up, it wasn't compatible with my computer.
Okay, yeah, because we had an informal gathering when we did the mash pond demonstration at the library.
Uh-huh.
And there was a group of people there, and they got there half an hour early.
Uh-huh.
So we posed the question to the residents that were there,
Okay.
and that must be the questions that she,
Are those questions in your minutes? Do you know?
I believe so. I believe one of the people take that.
Is anyone from conservation gonna be able to attend next Tuesday?
I'll try to attend,
Sweet,
and I'll get in
wonderful.
touch with you.
Ingrid too, if she's unavailable.
the more the better.
Okay.
And could you let Lori know? Lori,
Doesn't make it.
the secretary for the
She's aware.
EDC,
She knows about
Lori
it.
Parlow?
Okay, so Ingrid will probably know.
I have one other thing, you,
I believe it's in this one.
on the CERC survey, are you all set, Doug? Can I draw your attention to page 3, where their research, their obtain demographics, town profiles, benchmark stats, research and analyze business and industry data. So that data, I would assume, would mean what type of business would come in relative to population, lot sizes, et cetera. Then you go to page 4, and I highlighted, identify development best suited to communities. That's a very important part that I think CERC is going to take. I think I highlighted one more area that I wanted to bring to your attention. I'm not sure. No, that was it. So based on those 2 or 3 highlighted, it seems to me, please don't take offense, Peter, that the Economic Development Commission is putting the cart before the horse with their application before this board for 110,000 square feet, when CERC hasn't even begun their research into what needs to be done, what our vision is.
I disagree.
And I'm, excuse me, I'm gonna finish, and then I'll let you disagree, Dave. If they are planning to pay for this survey to do the work professionally, then why are they going ahead with this application before anything has been done? Now, can Peter answer, or do you wanna answer, Dave?
Well, I just stated that I disagree. First of all, this proposal has not been accepted, paid for, signed off on, or anything, it's just a proposal.
And do I believe it will happen? Yes, but anyway, and your next disagreement?
I don't know if it'll happen. The EDC felt the need for whatever their reason to provide to submit an application. John Q. Public could submit an application for the very same thing.
Not questioning that, what I'm
So
saying
it
is.
goes up for public debate at a public hearing where it gets debated, it gets discussed, and a decision is made.
Well, what I'm
So
saying.
I don't think they're stepping, I think they're kind of doing their due diligence, they're pursuing something.
Oh, they are
They
pursuing
may,
something.
it may not pass, and maybe they get feedback that points them in another direction.
But-
But that's part of the process of a public hearing and submitting an application.
Right, but what
I think
I'm saying.
Nancy's right, Dave, in that, I understand you want public response, sure, and you come up with a proposal. But if you're going to bring in a professional and pay a company and pay $19,000, it does make sense to ask them first. Maybe that's not a reasonable thing to do, or maybe CERC would think that was a wonderful idea, but it would make good sense to me to do that first.
Isn't their application one form of a survey question?
I guess you could say that. It's a very dramatic change for Stafford. It's a huge change. And to make that huge change before the CERC study comes out with their opinions, I mean, doesn't make sense
Do
to
you,
me.
do you want me to interject something in there?
It should,
course.
I think they should withdraw it until after the search,
The application predates me, and
correct?
predates another person on the board. And there's been a change in attitude on the board a little bit with a few people. So that was done before the discussion of the CERC study. So.
I understand, that's what I'm saying,
That's the chain of
they
events.
have the, time and the ability to withdraw that if they want to. If they don't,
They would
they
have to
can come-
withdraw it, because if
Right,
it's not
it-
acted upon, once the public hearing
Right.
opens, we have 35 days to conduct the public hearing.
that's why I'm saying they can withdraw before the meeting in 2 weeks.
So the application never had anything to do with the CERC study originally?
I don't think they were even
No.
aware of it when that
No, they
application-
weren't.
That was made
Mhm.
a while ago, because we stretched it out 3-4 meetings to
Oh,
set the public hearing.
please know that I'm not saying anything against the EDC. I'm just saying this work was done prior to this proposal coming forward, and perhaps it would behoove them to withdraw this application until we did get the CERC, at least see what they have to say and go along with the professional. And then if they still feel that they wanna pursue that, then of course they can bring it back before us. I just think that, it happened,
They're aware of the study, they extended the invitation to us, maybe that's a good topic at the meeting next week.
yeah, right, they would still have a week with which to withdraw. It just seemed that perhaps we should, sit back and wait. Like you said, we always sometimes do things too quickly, and then we're sorry after. So, I just wanted to bring that up for food for thought, too, while we were on the subject. Okay. Next item, discussion and possible action, review of zoning regs.
Draft solar regulations, I have not received a legal opinion. I did speak with Dennis and Rich, and they were as frustrated as I am, so I'm going to move forward and refer the regulations to CROG with the cover letter.
Excellent.
Like I said at the previous meeting, most of the language came from existing regulations. I don't anticipate any problems, but it's time to move forward on that. The architectural requirements, I did receive a email back from Tracy Hildebrand, and unfortunately I wasn't able to reproduce it for copies for you, but if everybody has does everybody have this with them? Probably not.
Is that booklet?
From,
Yeah.
for Mendon, Massachusetts.
Was it Mark? The Mendon, the Mendon?
Yeah. I I had sent Tracy a PDF of it, and she commented back with sticky notes within Adobe, which didn't print when so I wrote down her notes, and I'm gonna read them to you, the comments that she had.
Okay, good.
On the first page, Architectural Design Review Guidelines is the title of the page. At the bottom, this was her comment. This could potentially be cost prohibitive for a project. Use of wood in general on any commercial building is a maintenance issue. Alternative materials such as fiber cement, siding, and PVC trim are acceptable alternatives to wood.
Cement.
And I did call and kind of follow up and question on this. That's what CVS has.
There's some
The
quality,
clapboard that they have is fiber cement.
there's good quality products that aren't wood.
So you
What-
need to define that, this,
Right,
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 okay.
and rather, these guidelines from Mendon call out wood in several places. And she said that no facilities manager for say a retail chain or what have you, would want wood as often as these regulations call. So these are her observations.
I can certainly understand that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Makes
it's
sense.
just when I hear cement, I said the cement square building, but we
There are
can
several
define that.
alternatives that you would never know
Couldn't
the
tell.
difference in
Good.
unless you try to
Okay.
bite into it, I guess.
Very good.
So,
Unless you're a termite.
Oh, I think that's a good catch on her part, definitely.
Well, I mean, this is really just suggesting they could.
Right, these are her
materials,
observations
it's
in
Right.
in
Not
reviewing.
not saying you have to,
Yeah.
and brick or stone was kind of covering the cement
Mm-hmm.
clapboard.
Next.
On the third page, the title at the top is Types of Architecture That Are Discouraged. Yeah.
Oh, discourage, okay.
Her comment was that this is subjective. A building with asymmetric elements can also be balanced, and we should provide positive comparisons to go along with, and to avoid this or that. One thing she mentioned is you see like underneath the first picture, avoid, next picture, avoid. She feels that anything we come up with should be more positive and not exclusive with that word avoid. Going to page 6, architectural style and detail.
Are you looking at page 6 on the bottom, or page 6 after that
Page
first
6
page?
on the
On the
bottom.
bottom.
Okay.
Again, she stresses that this states more avoid this and that, add language in positive terms. So if you look through there, you see avoid. And she just felt it was very somewhat negative and not necessarily leaving it up to the developer. And you say avoid, it's basically saying don't,
Mhm.
The next page, entrances. The first paragraph, in regards to the last two sentences, she questions why limit to such a defined period of time? 1670 to 1720.
Mm,
It gets pretty restrictive there, is how do you meet that?
mhm.
No cement in,
The following paragraph,
no cement in.
regarding secondary rear entrance and pleasing rear facades are strongly encouraged. She notes that secondary public entrances are a security issue, and she suggests changing it, or the language, to if secondary entrances are provided, then use the language that they have, having a pleasing rear facade, etc. But not to encourage secondary public entrances, because most businesses would not have them.
Don't encourage, okay.
Okay. On the following page, under windows, she stated to leave the design concept to the architect. It is not reasonable to expect every building to use double-hung windows with muntins. I don't even know what muntins are. Muntins.
Mullions?
Yeah.
Join two
Volume.
windows together.
Those are the, oh, you're right, that's the middle one.
Right.
I'm not an architect.
She's right, though, that makes good
Mhm.
sense, yeah.
That kind of window treatment requires an awful lot of cleaning. And
That's
companies
basically
don't
what
like
she's
it.
getting at, is from a maintenance standpoint, I'm assuming from clients that she serves,
Yeah,
that these aren't reasonable things to ask.
it is a New England style, but
Mhm.
it certainly requires a lot of cleaning and maintenance.
So,
Well, and if it's a special use permit, the architect would just like give and take, and he can show us what he wants to do, and we can say yea or nay, and let's do this.
See, they're calling mullions in here grids, so a lot of people do that. Jackie had it right, it's the thing in the middle, when you combine the two windows, but in here it's just windows with mullions, and all it's showing is a small grid pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
she calls it dividers of panes of glass.
yeah,
Grids
Yeah.
are technically lights.
Yeah.
Light.
right, so that's like that's a 12 light window, not a 12 mullion, although it would be impressive.
There is a way to,
I mean, if somebody wanted to be real impressive and maintain it, that's fine. She's just saying, she's just pointing out observations from an architect's point of view.
Well, realistically, any new windows you're gonna get are not gonna have,
Wood.
they're not gonna be like that. They're gonna be in between the windows, and as far as the maintenance goes, it'll be no different. But, you know,
realistically, what you can do is you put a single glass pane in and put the dividers in, they just snap in and snap out for cleaning. I have that in my house.
yeah, but I mean, no one's gonna, that wouldn't be energy efficient.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to do with energy. All it does is give the facade of broken up glass, which is a New England style. Mine all snap in, just put little pins and take it out, wash the window and put it back.
Mine are inside though, like
Yeah,
John
they're
just said,
they're
we just put
inside.
windows in, and
They're inside, yeah.
they're inside, so it's so much easier.
Yeah.
On the next page, materials and colors. Again, she mentions that this is simply not feasible with commercial construction, in regards to wood. See your previous reference. May consider limiting the use of exterior insulation and finish styles, or finish systems in wide expanses. So,
Yeah, she's right again.
she's again speaking of, the type of finish like CVS or something like that. On wide expanses, you might, expand on that where you don't need such detail. That's the impression I get from her.
Mm-hmm.
So how would we, she's telling us not to suggest wood, but if we want it to look like wood,
The
but
appearance
not,
of wood.
the appearance of wood, but not vinyl, is what you would be saying?
However you wanna word it, yeah.
Is that what you're trying to
Right.
restrict, is vinyl?
Well, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure if you could explicitly say not vinyl, but I think from cost/maintenance standpoint, a company might not do vinyl. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they'd opt for that because it's cheaper, I don't know.
Well, they've got a line up above, the last line in the first paragraph. High-quality synthetic materials should be as close in appearance and detail to the natural material that
There you go.
simulates, and that makes good sense.
Yeah.
Because there are great quality products that you can't tell.
And
See
again,
your impressions.
Yeah.
Look like wood,
Yeah.
right up to it, you can't tell the difference, and it'll last longer,
Right, they're-
doesn't need painting, etc.
They're a fiberglass reinforced material.
Yeah.
But very good siding.
as Nancy suggested, or mentioned, you know, these, majority of these are gonna be special use permits. And I've seen it a few times in my history in town here, but I've seen it quite often in other towns, is that samples are shown to the commission. And I think, you know, we had this confusion on a previous application recently. And if a sample is provided, I think there's no questioning what's being proposed. So that's something for commission members to keep in mind, that, you know, it's not very hard for somebody to get a hold of a sample and bring it with. It may not be, you know, maybe
That's
it's
a good-
off
yeah.
a tint of a color or something like that, but the nature of the material is the same.
Oh, that's an excellent suggestion, Dave.
Well, that's where a great building inspector like Dennis
Yeah,
comes through, because he knows
the material.
what was proposed, and that doesn't qualify, that wasn't the sample you gave us.
Right. So, down lower on the page, her only comment was, sign requirements are separate in the regulations, and perhaps we should just refer to them,
Yeah.
separately.
Yeah, I crossed all that out.
Absolutely agree,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, we do have, Don Poland's suggestion of the consistency of signs and the rewarding of that. That's something to consider when we get to that step.
I like that, I really do.
And maybe as an appendix, we could incorporate something that the town encourages consistency in signs and maybe put that language in there, but I don't know. I mean, we're trying to get the architectural guidelines down first. She basically had the same comment for lighting on the following page. This lighting right there, it says avoid the use of flood lighting, wall packs, tall light posts for lighting large areas. I understand flood lighting, but wall packs and tall light posts, they're somewhat required for some of these developments. What we do have is that you can't see the glare from the light in our regulation, you cannot see the source of the light, so you need full cutoff, and it can't extend beyond the property lines. So I think our regulations covered that.
I think we
It's
cover,
just a matter of
we're
maybe
even
the
better.
style of the lighting, lamp posts.
I think we're better than this in some ways,
Most of
because,
them are directed down anyway.
Correct.
To cover
I mean,
just
the
the path.
technology and the lighting has come a long way.
Sure has.
And you have the whole dark
Thanks-
sky
thankfully.
equipment and everything else, so. That's basically the end of her comments, which I appreciate her doing this for us. It wasn't a paying job, like I mentioned at the last meeting, but she did take the time over
That's great.
weekend and went
Thank
through
her.
and offered comments.
definitely
Um,
send her an email, thank her for the
Very
board, we
much.
appreciate that.
And we took all notes on everything,
Yeah,
you know,
We
and we
value her
certainly,
opinion.
I think that we were in consensus that we are in the same opinion that,
I
brought
think
up
we're all
these.
pretty enthusiastic with these, and
Mhm.
she pointed out some flaws that I didn't see. so.
right, I think that's excellent.
Correspondence, I do, while we're on this subject, I have correspondence, I did not have it when the packets.
Oh, can I
Went
back
out.
up before the correspondence? So on the architectural requirements, have we done any work on doing those 2 overlays we discussed 2 weeks ago?
That's
That was the,
next after,
no, I didn't have time.
no, it's next on
Oh, I see. Oh,
the.
the
We can
overlay,
go
I'm
to, we can do
sorry.
that now, but,
But also the architectural requirements, we were going to try to see if we could incorporate what I wrote in this and work on them.
yes. we-
So that'll be next, well, no,
Yeah.
next meeting.
Yeah,
probably.
and I'll incorporate the comments, well, this is ongoing, so it's,
All right,
next meeting's might be a little busy, but,
it may be, all right, so probably the next
I still
meeting.
have your email.
Is there anything else you need me to do on that architectural for you?
I haven't compared your list of comments to Tracy's recent comments, so I don't know if there's any conflicts there.
There would be a conflict because I really relied heavily on this and I did put in the real wood.
Okay.
So that definitely, I did not realize, but of course they wouldn't because it rots, it needs painting, it
Right.
chips.
Right. So, I
And,
mean, minor things like that would be
right,
the only changes.
you could take that out
Yeah.
and, I
I started to work on your comments, it's in the computer, but I haven't got it back
well,
to
that'd be
it yet.
great if you could for next meeting. Yeah. Okay, all right, Dave, thank you.
This is a letter I received, or the commission received. You should probably read it in the record.
I
We
will.
put it in the minutes.
Cynthia Rummel, Chairman, Planning and Zoning, subject, example of varied commercial business designs. Hello, Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you for your service to the town. On a recent business trip to Cambridge, Mass., I happened to notice a fine example of commercial building design that is compatible with the prevailing neighborhood house styling. Please see the attached iPhone photo of a Rite Aid pharmacy on River Street. The River Street Rite Aid building contrasts starkly with Stafford's Rite Aid pharmacy building on Route 190, which was built many years ago. It appears that corporations have an array of architectural styles with their repertoire, likely at varied price points. I support your ongoing efforts to negotiate with companies on the architectural styling of their proposed new construction in Stafford Springs. So, I can show this is the Rite Aid if you can see it.
I will say
Commission's here.
Cambridge is a little more upscale.
They have clapboard siding, and they have a cornice,
I think we should accept this.
I don't think it's exceptional, but it's okay.
No, no, Cambridge is
County.
Cambridge.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll leave it
you
at
want
that.
to see? So we'll put that in the record.
Town County is one of the best.
Beth Lagura,
You know, Nancy, I rode up to Munson the other day. I didn't even recognize what do you call it, the McDonald's. I didn't recognize the Rite Aid. They look, you would never know they were stores like we know them here.
oh, they can, as she noted, work with
Yeah.
the zoning boards, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. All right, the overlay districts.
Giving this thought and looking at our present regulations and the changes we're anticipating with the architectural guidelines and so forth, the only thing I really wanna offer is that I feel that we should concentrate on a village district zone for starters, and let the regulations stand in place for the remaining areas, such as the HB zone, the HI zone. That's my opinion. I think that's the more pressing issue. You know, and I don't wanna overburden, or, not overburden, but, you know, you can write as many regulations as you want. And I think at some point, you know, I think our regulations are fairly strong as they are. And I think the areas that we wanna maintain the character, I know we wanna maintain the character of the whole town, but, the areas that you're more concerned about, I think we need to address the perimeter of that area first, and maybe learn from that process.
Have we identified exactly what the village district would be, what area?
What we had discussed at the last meeting was from Route 32, where the former BP gas station is, 32 and 190, up to East Street on 190.
Up Route 19?
Route 19 and 190, and then up Furnace Ave, I believe it was to the extent of American Woolen. And that's,
Okay,
and
when you
that's-
said East Street, does that go all the way past the hollow or no?
No, well, this is
Route
the,
19?
right, just to the intersection. The secondary area would be the outline of the historic district as delineated in the, established district up there.
So the historical district is from
The hollow.
Mill Pond,
Yeah.
and that went over by TTM, but I don't know
It's,
from there.
it's,
and
the Murphy Road,
Murphy
Old
Road,
Munson Road.
Old
That
Munson
triangle,
also?
the triangle
Okay.
intersection there.
So that's already protected by the, okay. We don't
Well,
need to write regulations?
it's delineated, it's not protected. You could use that same outline as a village district. You'd have two village districts, one in the Hollow, one on Main Street. They would have the same criteria, same regulations.
Right,
Those are the village districts. The rest, and those would be overlay districts over the existing, you know, AA, AAA, HB, industrial.
so the Furnace Avenue just went up to the Warren Mill, the stone. I think we talked about, what's that road, oh gosh.
Yeah, no, we questioned it last
Edgewood,
time.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
something
before
like that. That's right, Cindy said that would be a good area. And then up 190 and 19
Well, it
to,
would be to the intersection on 190, so that corner.
all right, but what about between the corner and the hollow?
It would stay as the current zoning is.
Okay,
The majority of that is residential, with the
It is.
exception of, I think, William,
well, you have Festies, you have Williams, you have a garage.
those have been, yeah, the town garage.
The town garage, and you have that
And you have
other repair.
the Monterey,
garage.
or whatever it is.
Mhm. So actually, we would need to have two village districts,
It would be the same criteria, it would just be two areas outlined, two overlay areas.
two districts, one criteria, and then, all of Main Street up to the 32,
From Route 32 to
Going
Route
down.
19.
yeah, excellent, yeah.
And then it would not go south on 32, it would basically be the rotary area. And then north it would go on Furnace Avenue,
Mhm.
up. What's the street name?
It's not on that map somewhere, so.
That's the-
Right, this is the borough, so
Yeah.
that's what, I wanna say Silver Street?
Silver Street, that's it.
That's it,
Yeah.
Silver Street.
Got it.
It stops right there at Silver
Right.
Street, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And we also, someone brought up that the plan of conservation also delineated West Stafford.
Nancy, so I understand an overlay zone, it's a additional group of regulations and requirements that you place over a certain part of the zone.
Right, right, it would be actually the architectural,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Our regular regulations, correct, Dave, will stay as far as, you know, your side lots, your acreage, everything, square footage. Basically, the regulations that we're working on for the architectural would be for these village districts, correct, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Yeah,
not
the-
for all of them, it's village.
right, and
Yeah.
the existing regulations may get tweaked a little bit in regards to materials or something like that.
Materials, but not square footage
No,
or anything,
not-
nothing.
Right,
no.
not as much scrutiny as this area would.
Right.
And we had mentioned, you know, we had talked, tossed around, possibly some type of commercial overlay. But I think this should be our focus, it's my opinion, it's up to you guys, but, I think we should focus on this and perhaps learn from it as well.
Before
I think
the-
everybody's in agreement on this area,
Mhm.
Is somebody gonna spell out the boundary of what we're
Yes.
talking about?
yes,
So that we're all on the same page?
yes.
Okay.
And the commercial overlay we were discussing would probably be the 190 corridor,
Right,
but,
right, but
we
we,
need to do
again,
one thing
we already
first.
have regulations in place, number one, and on top of that, a majority of the uses require a special use permit. So, you know, how much burden do you put on an applicant to,
mhm.
you know, I mean, a special use permit is a 50-50 shot when someone comes in the door, quite honestly.
Absolutely, I think it's good for the developer and it's also good for us, so you can work together, like Dennis said, he likes that give and take, and that's the only way you can do a give and take. Otherwise, you know, our regulations are steadfast and we can't change them. So,
So, how about if I bring a map to, marked up map to the next meeting and we agree on the limits?
Good idea.
that'd be excellent. If you have
I
time,
mean-
Dave.
Express them verbally, I think we all agree with those limits?
Yes.
Yes, definitely, yeah. Is anyone opposed to that on the board this evening? No. Okay. Is there anything else, that we need to discuss under, the new and other business?
Well, we discussed already the EDC invitation and the letter from, Ms. McGurr.
Does the commission have any other business they need to discuss?
Oh, we do have, potential upcoming referrals, in speaking with Peter, regarding other possible solar sites. I did have one I did not add to the agenda because I had some questions and we didn't get to speak until this morning. But, I mean, those are relatively easy things to add to the agenda, so.
Is there any other business that we need to conduct before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
It's your turn, you're sitting in the right seat.
I'll let you do it.
Ready to adjourn?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
John seconds it.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. And Dave, thank you very much for all the work you do, really. I know sometimes you don't feel appreciated,
No
but you
public
certainly
comment.
are. You certainly are appreciated.